Patricia Gibson.
And I wish to take this opportunity to welcome you to your place. And I want to thank the Minister for his summary that he gave us of the provisions of the bill. The decision to update the Air Travel Organising Licensing Scheme to provide more protection to travellers when they go on holiday and to align it with enhancements to the EU and UK travel package regulations that predate people booking their holidays on the internet, of course, is to be welcomed. Of course, we need to ensure that the public are protected by updating the UK's financial protection scheme for holidaymakers. And it's important to keep pace with the innovation in the online travel market and that appropriate protection is in place regardless of whether consumers choose to book online or on the high street when choosing their holiday. And of course, we want to make it easier for UK companies when selling holidays across Europe, as they will be able to trade under the UK's Air Travel Organising Licensing Scheme, as opposed to the regimes in which countries they sell to. The measures in this bill are important, as we need the Air Travel Organising Licensing Bill to cover new digital business models and modern consumer purchasing models. We know that more than 3/4 of consumers booked their holidays last year online. The EU Package Travel Directive of 2015, applicable from the 1st of January 2018, extends the protections beyond traditional package holidays organised by tour operators and also gives clear protections to 120 million consumers across the EU who book other forms of combined travel. This directive is expected to reduce detriment to consumers by around €430 million per year across the EU and reduce administrative costs and burdens on business. Passengers' rights have been enshrined in EU law, and consumers and businesses deserve to know, they need to know, in fact, they are very keen to know how Brexit will affect them. What is sought are cast iron assurances that the rights and protections of travellers will not be diminished after the UK leaves the EU, and I know that the Minister understands that. Current EU directives mean that current UK passengers are entitled to a number of benefits if a journey is cancelled or delayed, which gives protections, and it has to be said, some peace of mind to consumers when they're booking travel. And since the EU legislated to provide a comprehensive system of air passenger rights in 2004, increased awareness of these rights and the ability to complain and appeal has led to a significant increase in the number of people doing so. And that's a good thing, because it democratises the market and gives consumers proper routes of redress. As the Minister has already said today, the importance of intervening when the market has failed. It should also be noted that there has been examples of court cases which have ruled on the circumstances in which airlines must pay compensation, and appeals against some of those judgments have demonstrated that some airlines have shown a reluctance to pay out compensation unless the legal position is made absolutely clear. The rights of passengers must be clear and must be upheld, otherwise this will have a detrimental impact on passenger numbers and ultimately put jobs at risk. Clearly, Brexit poses challenges with regards to passenger rights, and it's essential that the UK develops its own system of passenger rights and compensation in the aviation sector, and there must be clarity around how this will impact upon non-UK airlines and passengers. Will we have such a system in the UK post-Brexit? Clearly, this will be required, but we also need to know, and non-UK airlines and passengers need to know, how similar this system will be to current arrangements. What is to become in the post-Brexit world of all the EU protections currently in place? Will they continue as protections under the UK government? And what reassurances can be given to UK passengers? The Minister today has spoken of minimal impacts on consumers and business post-Brexit, but obviously more detail is needed and more detail is keenly awaited. The collapse of low-cost holidays is a stark reminder that more than ever the importance of the EU Package Travel Directive, which offers consumers protection in case of insolvency, must be remembered. And I ask the Minister to give due consideration to these points and update the House as soon as it is practical to do so. He spoke of the need to revisit consumer protection in this area as technology advances, but of course, the question at the forefront of everybody's mind is what will happen post-Brexit. What we need...
The Honourable Lady invited me to... Madam Deputy Speaker, can I welcome you to the chair? The Honourable Lady invited me to respond as quickly as possible, so I'll respond now. The reform we're making at ATOL and the package directive will bring the arrangements across Europe more into line than they have ever been before. It is imperative that we protect, through regulation, consumers in the way that I've described, and inconceivable, therefore, post-Brexit, we won't want to reflect the protections that exist already here and increasingly abroad.
I thank the Minister for that response. So the clear guarantees that business, that consumers are looking for must not be eroded after Brexit. And as long as we have guarantees, and long as the Minister can give us further detail on these guarantees, this will reassure both passengers and businesses. Clause 2 in the bill gives the Secretary of State the power to reform the Air Travel Organisers Licensing and Air Travel Trust Fund with only an affirmative resolution by each House of Parliament. However, we believe that any changes the Secretary of State wishes to introduce to the scheme must be preceded by a full consultation and an impact assessment that allows for proper scrutiny of these proposals. So whilst we absolutely welcome the move to update Air Travel Organisers Licence Scheme to ensure that a maximum number of travellers are protected when they go on holiday and to align it to the EU Travel Directive 2015, passenger rights have been enshrined in EU law, and consumers and businesses deserve to have that reassurance and clarity about how Brexit will affect them. And the Government needs to give us more flesh on the bones of absolutely how this will be written into our law. So the updating of the scheme is to be welcomed, but post-Brexit poses a whole range of challenges which consumers and airline businesses require clarity upon, and I look forward to more detail from the Secretary of State in due course.